This is something we were dreaming about at 170 pounds. Instead, we get it at 185 pounds after Usman has suffered 2 losses back to back for the first time in his career. So it's not quite the way that we envisioned it, but people are excited nonetheless because, first off, take some real cojones for Kamaru Usman to say 12 days. Let's do it. Khamzat Chimaev, the boogeyman. Yeah, all right, we'll find out, right? But then you have to take into consideration here, AJ, pre-fight news that we cannot not discuss. Rumored injury for the already destroyed knees of Kamaru Usman. He's training open workout with Justin Gaethje, does a little toss on him, and then rumors are, they say they isolated the audio and did all that. I listened to it. I don't know what I heard clearly, but something along the lines of something popped. And then right after they just started, they concluded the open workout. How much are you reading into this, AJ? Are you massive, ring the bell, ring the sirens alerts for Kamaru Usman injury against Khamzat Chimaev?
It's an interesting one, Derek, because I try my best not to fall into that hype. Because you're right, I watched that little snippet over and over and over again, trying to isolate it. Then you have the greatness of Uncle Chael going in there and saying, bro, nobody heard that. And it wasn't even true. I can't say that because then both of us would be lying. If Uncle Chael doesn't hear it, who knows? But then what worries me, Derek, Usman came out after, releases his own video, says y'all don't know what you're talking about. And he claims that after that happened, they went back and hit mitts. That's not the case, Derek. They actually concluded their training session. So yes, it does give me a little bit of hesitation. And because of all the back and forth, all the unsureties that are presented with it, with both sides of the media, I guess you could say, saying opposite, it's weird. It's weird. I don't know what to think because, yeah, you're right. But for a long time, Usman would tell everybody he had to walk backwards downstairs so his knees wouldn't hurt. As both of us can attest, Derek, and both of us with bad knee, at least one knee each, it sucks. And if you have any little bit of damage in there, one little thing can turn the tide. And Usman, with dealing with how much pain he's been in the past, I think he's the kind of fighter that just pushes right through it. Who knows if it's actually injured or not, or even maybe just slightly injured. I think it comes into play, Derek. What about you?
Yeah, I think you got to commend Kamaru Usman because you're never going to say, oh, yeah, my knee got messed up. You can't say that. Medically, you cannot say it. You want to fight. You made the trip to Abu Dhabi. You're not canceling at this point. You're already there. You're too invested. But then again, Usman does seem like a very, very durable individual who can withstand a ton, like in terms of pain tolerance, right? So if it's not something that's like a foregone conclusion of this is going to impact his performance, then it's something that you shouldn't worry about too much. But I'm not going to lie to you. Once again, if money is on the line, we take it into consideration. And for that, I'm taking a heavier lean on Khamzat Chimaev here. Now, if I was looking at this how I originally did, as just a pure fight, I still didn't really like it for Kamaru Usman. Oldest you've ever been. You're moving up a weight class. Yeah, you're a big welterweight, but Khamzat Chimaev is a bigger middleweight than you are at this established weight class. But this is the thing that gives me the most pause here, AJ, and I want your opinion. 3 rounds. That does not favor Kamaru Usman, in my opinion. Chimaev is such a fast starter, and it's not like Usman has the advantage of, I'm breaking you rounds 3, 4, 5. Maybe round 3. But round 1 and 2, you better be on it, buddy, because if you're not, even though he is the great Kamaruddin Usman, the Nigerian nightmare, nobody is not susceptible to getting slammed on your head, your face elbowed in, choked out, something like that. Let's see if you could stave him off. But how concerned are you about 3 rounds?
Oh, horrified, Derek. If I was an Usman bettor on this one, I would be praying for 5 rounds. Notoriously, Kamaru Usman is that slow starter. He does have the power to get it done, but he likes to feel out his opponents a little bit. He likes to go in there and kind of mix it up and get things going. And you can't do that against a Khamzat Chimaev style of fighter, the smash style of fighter, the one that's literally shouting to the mountaintops that he's here to kill everybody and drink their blood and eat their soul, whatever the saying was. This guy is an absolute animal. It worries me a lot, Derek. Do you think we're going to see the classic Khamzat just blitz, get to the double, get to the hips, slam you on the ground and beat you up? I don't know if Kamaru Usman is going to allow him to do that, but also at the same point, I don't know if he has a choice.
From the perspective of how Chimaev fights, I feel like he is. Now, I don't think that that's going to be the most favorable style to beat Usman, who has, a 97% takedown defense in his UFC tenure. Ridiculous, right? But then again, Khamzat Chimaev is not coming in here and doing the stereotypical, I'm going to come in, I'm going to set up my shot. He's like blasting through people. He's saying, I will exert all of my energy to pick you up off of your feet, walk you to my corner, and then slam you on your head. I think that Usman could stave off some of that, but I do also think that if this fight gets past the first round, that's when Usman comes into play. That's when things get scary. If you're a Chimaev better, if it gets out of the first round, you got some cause for concern. But then again, if this turns into Gilbert Burns versus Chimaev all over again, and we see a striking contest, I love Usman with that newfound jab that he has under Trevor Whitman. And guess what? Not only Trevor Whitman is his corner, but also Henry Hooft is as well. So you got two coaches who have been the supreme factors of the resurgence, or I guess the dominance he had as a champion. How does that play into everything right here, man? You got that expertise, you got the legacy of being a champion, and Chimaev, even though he's the boogeyman, he's not nearly as tested as Kamaru Usman. So it's almost disrespectful that he's a plus 230 favorite, but we understand why. So give me your take on that.
It plays into it massively, Derek, and I'm glad you brought up that Dorino fight, because that's what I think this, if Usman is able, with this caveat, if Usman is able to defend the takedown, have Chimaev thinking a little bit, worried a little bit about eating that jab and then eating the right hand that comes behind it, then we're worried a little bit. And that's when I think this fight changes up drastically. We saw how Gilbert Burns was able to stave off the beast that is Khamzat Chimaev. And arguably, Usman is not necessarily a more technical striker. Maybe some could argue that, but he does have a clear sense of concentration. And that's what I really like about Usman in this. If he can keep this one standing, man, we might see a Jorge Masvidal style, a knockout, especially with the power and the force that Chimaev brings forward. If all Usman needs is just one nice timing right on the button, who knows? It could turn the whole MMA situation upside down. I don't see it happening, but it is in the realm of possibility for sure.
Usman says, game plan, win this 185-pound belt, go back down to 170, take his old belt back, and then sail off into the sunset. My biggest concern, honestly, is Usman is giving very much retirement vibes in his pre-fight pressers, man. He's talking about, I just want to experience this a couple more times before I walk away from the sport. And you never want to hear that when you're fighting a young, hungry dude who, as you mentioned, screaming from the rooftops, I'm here to kill everybody. So listen, man, this is just how I'm going to close this one out. I think Khamzat Chimaev deserves a little more respect given the knee situation with Kamaru Usman. But then again, you cannot count out Kamaru Usman with confidence given that this is MMA. It's steep. The declines are steep. And we don't know if this is a true decline. Maybe Leon Edwards stylistically was just a bad matchup for him right there. But then again, they fought 3 times. Edwards won 2 of 3. Who knows? I'm going to take Khamzat Chimaev here, AJ, and I'm not hedging on Kamaru Usman personally. I'm just going full max bet. Khamzat Chimaev, throwing him in a couple parlays. I think it's a good price. My question is, do you like any of these props?
Ooh, Derek, I actually like that submission plus 325. I do think a ground and pound, club and sub, something like that is in the works for Khamzat Chimaev because he needs to make a splash, and I think he's going to be hunting it. But again, we always say, if you're hunting that finish, you're not going to win a decision. And that's when Kamaru Usman shines the most, is in those long, drag-out, war style of fights. I'm not hedging anything for the Kamaru Usman side. I'm with you, Derek. I'm taking Khamzat Chimaev in this one. I just, honestly, honest opinion, folks, I just hope we don't see an injury because I hope that's not a knee problem. I want to see a banger of a fight right here.
I heard that. All right. Another Bloody Water Podcast consensus pick, Khamzat Chimaev.